After Serena realized Zoe wasn't coming home, I was delirious with worry. I knew maybe that she wasn't dead, but she was at least badly hurt. I knew she wouldn't just leave and not call. It wasn't like her. In that time, I knew that I could have gone to the grocery store. Guilt, pain, regret. These are some of the most powerful emotions one human can face. And for Kyle, they happen all at once. In Touch by Toni Press-Coffman, Kyle tells the story of prosperity to tragedy and faces a series of unfortunate events and struggles to find answers about the disappearance of his high school sweetheart, now wife, Zoe. This is Touch by Toni Press-Coffman. I was taking physics, and that's where I met her for the first time. She walked into the room, peeked in. The teacher asked whether he could help her with anything. Then she stepped into the room and looked all around. Zoe had huge eyes, gigantic. As she looked around the room, her eyes reminded me of the heavens. She looked at me for a second, or maybe two, or maybe it was longer. And then she said, "I am so in the wrong room," then turned around and walked out the door. I didn't think, which had rarely, maybe never happened before, because I jumped to my feet and ran after her. Zoe caused me to be late to class for the first time in my life. And then it was every day. I couldn't stop looking at her once I started. I would come to school early, I would find her, and I would look at her until the bell. I would dream of her at night, and I would look at her all throughout school. We got married the Christmas after our high school graduation, December 22nd, winter solstice. Our decision to marry made our parents insane. Mine told me I didn't have to marry the first young woman I dated, and hers just thought I was, odd. We had our honeymoon in New York City. It was beautiful beyond imagining. A few months before our 6-year anniversary, we hosted Thanksgiving. Zoe was sitting on a bright red cushion, and her face was also bright red because she had drank quite a bit of wine. People kissed us as they left, and her mother kissed both of her cheeks. And through this completely radiant smile, Zoe threw back her head and said to her mother, "You made a great me. I'm so happy you realize what I see in Kyle now." A few hours later, it was just us, Bede, and Serena. Zoe decided to make this coffee drink she liked to make with triple sec and whipping cream. Only we had no whipping cream. No big deal. Zoe would run over to the 24-hour market to get some. But Serena told her to wait. She'd go with her. But Zoe said no. She'd be right back. She grabbed her purse. She put on her black leather hat. She kissed me. Oh, thank God. Then she left. 45 minutes later, Serena turns to me and asks me how far away the 24-hour market was anyway. 45 minutes, which is impossible. My wife went to the store to buy one item, and she's gone 45 minutes. And it's the fact that her sister notices before I do, because that is a long goddamn time. And in that time, I could have... After that, after Serena realized Zoe wasn't coming home, I was delirious with worry. I knew, maybe that she wasn't dead, but she was at least badly hurt, because I knew Zoe. I knew she wouldn't just leave and not call. That wasn't like her. I knew Zoe. And in that time, I knew I could have gone to the grocery store. I called the police and I explained to the detective about Zoe. I talked and talked and talked and talked. Our car is still in the parking lot. Doesn't that tell you something? It told him that whoever kidnapped Zoe picked her up in the supermarket parking lot and just left and drove off. Nothing registered. He was going to wait 24 hours before he conducted a search. Yes? Yes, this is Zoe Klicky's home. This is her husband. Did you find my wife? 16 days after Thanksgiving. A man and his dog found Zoe's bag buried in his yard. He did a little bit more searching and found a pile of rocks just southeast of the Navajo reservation. The Navajo believe it will cause them harm to come in contact with a dead body. So they thought if they called her number, that might help them decide what was best. I told them I'd be there immediately.
She had no clothes on. Was she smiling? Could it have happened after she died? Could it have just been an anomaly? Zoe, are you smiling? Who killed her?
Random chaos, entropy, like a black hole, always increases. The supermarket swallowed Zoe. Or maybe it was her smile. Maybe it was her eyes. Or maybe it was her heart. Maybe it was her great, big, ever-expanding, loaded to the spirit heart. I prefer not to think about the police and their investigation. I just prefer to think about black holes. I'm not confident they will find the men who hurt Zoe. But then, summer, early in July, the police arrested 2 men for rape. And in their van, they found pictures of Zoe. I suppose I should be grateful that these men were so stupid. The police called me while I was at work. When I saw the photos, she wasn't smiling, but she didn't look hurt. My wife was raped and murdered! They caught them. The men who killed Zoe. They confessed. Both agreed to speak with me, which I didn't understand at the time. Each one could have said no, but then the more I think about it, I think it was Zoe. Zoe was telling me, I'm dying. I'm dying, Kyle. That's what my life is now. I'm dying. The first one said no. He didn't notice she was smiling. But she asked if one of them would stay with her until she died. She would be grateful. Zoe hated to be alone. Now, this kid, he had stolen before, but something about this spooked him. So he grabbed a purse and ran out of the van, leaving the other one with her. When the other one walked into the room, he sat down, rigid, and fixed his gaze on me. I asked if she was smiling, and he said yes. I asked if she was scared, and he said yes. As she lay dying, she seemed less and less so. Then I asked if she spoke my name. He said he didn't want to piss me off, but she was one weird chick, because as she lay dying, she mentioned something about the stars. She died. She died. He looked at me again and he said, You're weird too, buddy. I banged the telephone on the glass, separating me from him. Did you touch her? Did you touch my wife while she was dying? Did you touch her? And there he was. He flinched. She reached her hand out to me. But yeah, I let her touch me. I said we met in physics class. Scene, thank you.